the time that we were walking in here, the governor and the state attorney general said that they're going to sue you for sending the National Guard in. They're saying there's no invasion, there's no rebellion. The president is trying to manufacture chaos and crisis on the ground for his own political ends. Federalizing the California National Guard is an abuse of the president's authority under law.
That's crazy.
Well, you know, it's interesting. You watched the same clips as I did. Cars burning all over the place, people rioting. And by the way, we stopped it. We were able to make it much better. But it still looked pretty bad. And in watching clips last night, people were saying this is really a big problem. And until we went in, if we didn't do the job, that place would be burning down just like the houses burned down. They were in big trouble last night, Peter, you know. And
Is it Maxine Water and what's that other guy's name? I forgot his name.
And the night before that, and I feel we had no choice. I don't want to see happen what happened so many times in this country. I watched Minneapolis burn. I watched, look at what happened in so many different parts of California. You take a look at what happened in San Diego. There's so many different places where we let it burn. We want to be politically correct. We want it to be nice.
Big mistake.
We want to be nice to the criminal.
Huge mistake.
And what you're doing is destroying the fabric of our life in this country. No, we did the right thing. We've been given credit by people that I would least suspect. Why I would say that some of the people that came in and said, thank goodness, they said, some of them, thank God that Trump got involved. And I'm very happy I got involved. And
That's very true, man. Yeah, Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, go ahead,
He's an idiot.
What do you make of the fact that he says, you want a civil war on the streets of America?
No, it's just the opposite. I don't want a civil war. Civil war would happen if you left it to people like him.
Like what?
And I liked him. You know, I always got along with him.
Yeah.
Never had a problem with him.
Wow.
But he's grossly incompetent. Okay.
That is true.
In London, have you gotten an update from your team in London negotiating?
Louder.
Have you gotten an update from your team in London negotiating the China trade talks?
We'll see if there's any more of these.
We are doing well with China. China's not easy.
I don't think we're doing well with
Just
China,
like-
guys.
China is tough,
Guys,
man.
Your home country is not easy there. I think we're doing very well. They're over there now. I'm only getting
Just
good
the way you
reports.
said
It's a little early, but they'll be calling in soon. In fact, probably when I get back, I'll have my first call from them. We want to open up China. And if we don't open up China, maybe we won't do anything. But we want to open up China. It'll be a great thing for China, a great thing for the rest of the world.
To lift export controls when it comes to China? Did you give your negotiators any sort of
We're going to
limitations?
see. Look, China has been ripping off the United States for many years. Nobody charged them 10 cents. No president had the courage to charge China for whatever reason. They didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
I took in hundreds of billions of dollars. I put on tariffs on China when I got in first term. And we took in hundreds of billions of dollars. And then I did it again, but I did it for a lot of others. If you look at the stats, the deficit last month was cut in half. Everybody was shocked. I wasn't shocked. I think a lot of the people at this table weren't, because they saw the billions of dollars that were pouring in, and the tariffs hadn't even started yet, just about. There weren't cars. They were in some countries at a very minor level. And we cut the deficit in half, and it was a big story a couple of days ago. They said, I don't believe, one of the announcers on a business network went wild, said, I can't believe these numbers. Those numbers are good. The numbers are going to be very good. I think we're going to have a great 4 years. You know, we had the greatest economy in history during my 4 years.
Wow.
I think this one's going to blow it away. Yeah.
Mr. President,
Go ahead,
do you have a message for Greta Thunberg, and did she not want to the Prime Minister today?
Well, she's a strange person.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
an angry person. I don't know if it's real.
Yeah,
anger
she's an
or
angry
something,
person.
actually, but I saw what happened. She's certainly different. Anger management. I think she has to go to an anger
Even
management
that won't help her.
Oh my God.
That's my primary recommendation for her.
Even that way. She's gonna be more angry.
Was she kidnapped?
I think Israel has enough problems without kidnapping Greta Thunberg.
Are you going to
Is
get
that what she said? She was kidnapped by Israel?
What
Are you going to get rid of the Tesla and the Starlink service that you have here at the White House?
Probably not.
No, I haven't heard that. I mean, I may move the Tesla around a little bit, but I don't think we'll be doing that with Starlink. It's a good service.
Where are you going to move it to?
Yeah. Move it around. What do you mean?
I have a lot of locations.
Actually, about the
I got so many locations, I don't know what to do with them all.
Tesla. Did you ever see Elon Musk get physical with the Treasury Secretary?
No, I didn't.
And I tried to
And I
ask.
did have an argument, but I didn't see it.
Was it
I didn't
physical?
see a lot of physicality there.
And there was this New York Times report that he did not want to talk about, Elon Musk, that alleged that he, towards the end of his time in the White House, was blurring the lines between recreational use of drugs and medicinal.
Ooh.
Do you think he ever had drugs here at the White House?
I really don't know. I don't think so. I hope not. Look, I wish him well. You understand. We had a good relationship, and I just wish him well.
He's not taking the
Very
bait.
well, actually.
Yeah.
About aid in Gaza, you
They're
mentioned
really
the
trying to
flotilla.
ban him.
Do you have a response at all about Israel intercepting this boat? And can you give us an update on what's happening to the entry of aid into Gaza right now? We've had people being shot by Israeli forces who are trying to get
And
aid
Gaza's
from the
right
Gaza
now-
Humanitarian
yeah.
Foundation. Yes.
Gaza right now is in the midst of a massive negotiation between us and Hamas and Israel and Iran actually is involved. And we'll see what's going to happen with Gaza. We want to get the
Nothing based on
hostages back.
usual.
That's all I can tell you. Yeah, please, in the back.
You said yesterday when I reported that it was not insurrection taking place, but then on True Social a bit later, you said they were insurrectionists. Afterwards,
You're talking about in L.A.?
yes, sir.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it quite an insurrection, but it could have led to an insurrection.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
that was
Oh, yeah.
serious.
Was
That
crazy,
a lot
man.
Well, it's
There was a
over
lot of
now,
harm
pretty
that was
much.
going on last night. I watched it very closely. And it was amazing that the job that the National Guard did. And by the way, the police were working very hard also. But, you know, the police are given instructions
They can only do so much.
to be politically correct. I said, no, you don't have to be politically correct. You have to do the job.
Politically correct. That's crazy.
On the phone anytime soon. I know some.
Which one?
On Elon Musk, do you plan to speak to him on the phone anytime soon?
I haven't really thought about it, actually. I would imagine he wants to speak to me. I would think so. If I were him, I'd want to speak to me. But maybe he's already called. You'd have to ask him whether or not he's already called. But
jeez.
I'd have no problem with it. Well, I don't want to say that, but but I would imagine
God.
he'd want to talk to me.
Mr. President.
Amazing.
Yeah, please.
Phone tag? Yeah.
Iran today. Have
you got this proposal?
And what is
the main impediment?
Thursday. We have a meeting with Iran on Thursday, so we're going to wait till Thursday.
And what's
for
the
that
main
proposal.
impediment to getting a deal?
Well, they're just asking for things that you can't do. They don't want to give up what they have to give up. You know what that is.
Power.
They seek enrichment. We can't have
Fake
enrichment.
power.
We want just the opposite. And so far, they're not there. I hate to say that because the alternative is a very, very dire one. But they're not there. They have given us their thoughts on the deal, and I said, it's just not acceptable.
When you spoke?
I would say, yeah. I don't know what else I can talk about the weather.
Well, you can talk about Lebanon.
Pretty much that's the main town.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Mr. President.
We talked about Lebanon
That's the
also.
main
Yeah,
town.
we did.
Yeah.
Well, Lebanon's working very hard. They have a great new ambassador
Wow.
that I put there.
Wow.
Man, I know very well. He's very smart. I didn't even know he was Lebanese. And I said, why would you want Lebanon? He said, I was born there. I love it. I love the people. I said, it's very dangerous going to Lebanon. There are some ambassadorships that are wonderful. There are some that are dangerous. I said,
Yeah, that'd be a bad one.
Michel, his name is. It's a he. Michel. Very
Michel.
elegant man. And I said, why would you want this? And he said, because I love my country and I love those people. I said, it's very
Space.
dangerous. He goes, I don't care.
Damn.
This is not a man that lived on danger. He's a very successful man from here. And he wanted to be the ambassador despite probably a very dangerous situation he's going into. You see what's going on. But,
Wait, you guys think
I had
he's
great
talking about
respect for
Michelle
that.
Obama?
He loves the country. He loves it. He was
Wait,
born there.
really?
He loves the country, yeah.
Mr. President, you've got a big, beautiful parade coming up on Saturday.
Oh yeah,
do.
yeah,
What's
that
your
is coming up.
biggest expectations for that? And I've got a second
Counter
question
protesters.
in
Okay.
regards to Gavin Newsom. But go ahead and talk about the
So,
big, beautiful parade.
it's such a, thank you, Brian. It's such a, I think, important moment for this
Trump is
country.
hilarious.
Laser questions.
you know,
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, I was calling people and back and forth with leaders, including President
So recap, no, this is happening
including
live.
French president, including lots of different people, and all of them said we're celebrating victory in World War II.
Yeah.
And I said, wow,
We should do
isn't that
that.
amazing? We're the only one that wasn't celebrating, and we're the one that won the war. Now, Russia did help. They did lose 51 million people, in all fairness. People say,
okay.
oh, he's sticking up for Russia. No, they lost 51 million people.
Bro, Rush.
And,
Yeah.
you know, can't forget that.
He's right.
But
Respect.
France was celebrating. And, as you know, Hitler made a speech at the Eiffel Tower. But when I spoke to President Macron, he said, oh, we are celebrating the great victory of World War II. And I think that's great that he was doing it. But we're the one that won it, and we weren't celebrating. I said to myself, you know, isn't that crazy? And I think it's time for us to celebrate a little bit. You know, we've had a lot of victories. We won 2 world wars.
Yeah.
And then we go out and change the name of the forts where we won the wars. You go out, we win world wars from Fort Robert E. Lee, from
Went to the
Fort
moon.
Bragg, from all the different forts. And what do? We change the name of the forts because we want to be politically correct. So a lot of them were changing back. You probably noticed
Great.
Fort Bragg and others. But I think it's a time to celebrate our military. You know, we've rebuilt our military largely. Little low on ammunition. That's because it goes out very fast to other countries, one in particular. But we'll get that back very
Interesting.
quickly. But we have a military the likes of which nobody has. Nobody comes close. We have the best equipment in the world. We make the best equipment in the world. There's no military like our military. We showed that with ISIS. I was told by the television generals it would take 4 years to win, and we did it in 3 weeks. And it was headed by General Raisin Kane, who's now the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He's great.
He just loves saying
left him.
that name.
No, I think it's time that we celebrate. And I sort of have to laugh at these people. Well, you know, you're going to spend a lot of money. A lot of that money is being paid for by me and people that make donations. I don't know if you know that. A lot of it
I didn't know
come
that.
out of the military. I think I can say that, Susie, right? We have people putting up money to do it. Not that it's necessary, because I think it's a great expenditure. We have many tanks. We have all sorts of new ones and very old ones.
So
all
he's
from
paying
World
for the
War
military.
I and World War
God.
II. It's really a celebration of the Army. So the Army is a year older than the country. So next year we celebrate 250 years, but we're celebrating the Army on Flag Day. And it's not my birthday. It is my birthday, but I'm not celebrating my birthday. I'm celebrating Flag Day. It happens to be the same day, so I take a little
It's
heat.
Saturday.
But Flag Day is the appropriate date. And we're celebrating.
This side's gonna be what, the 14?
Years of the Army, a great service. And remember,
Yeah,
think of it, we won so
I
much.
didn't
We
know
won
that.
World War I, World War II, so much else. And then we became
coincidence?
politically correct.
What a coincidence.
But I can only tell you that I was told that ISIS would take anywhere from 4 to 5 years. And we did it in 3 weeks. You were there, you watched, right? We have the greatest military in the world. Nobody can beat us. As long as we have our right leadership, nobody can beat us. If we have stupid people running it, like you had in Afghanistan, when you look at that, first of all, Afghanistan should have been an easy victory as a war, but we were so sad the way we fought it, so ridiculous. We fight not to win. But we didn't used to be that way. And we're celebrating, because I think the day in Afghanistan was the saddest period of time in the history of our country. That was a Biden mess with bad generals like Milley and others. They were bad, they were incompetent generals. I know all the good ones and the bad ones. We got rid of most of the bad ones. But it was time to celebrate, and that's what we're doing. So it's on June 14th.
Great.
And it's going to be a parade the likes of which I don't know if we've ever had a parade like that. It's going to be incredible.
Yeah.
We have even though it's the Army, we have a lot of those Army airplanes flying over the top, and we have tanks all over the
Isn't
place.
the guy
and we have
from
thousands
Syria,
and
the
thousands of
ISIS leader?
soldiers going to bravely march down the streets. It's going to be a beautiful day.
Was that him?
And we're going to celebrate our country.
You spoke of leadership, and real quickly, speaking of Gavin Newsom, is he the right leader for California, considering how massive
here we
their
go.
economy is and all these U.S. investments coming in? Is he the right governor and leader for the future of
Clearly
California
not.
and for
I don't
U.S.
think he
investments?
is, and then I think he's done a
Clearly
terrible
not.
job. And he's a guy I always got along with him. You look at his.
I mean,
past
he's
statements
leading for
about
himself,
how he's
of
a great
course, to
president.
stay
I
in
always
power
took care of
so they can keep him in power, of course.
I'm just talking on results. You look, here's the advantage of beautiful weather, maybe the best weather of any state.
The illegal
Think about it.
aliens.
Beautiful weather, beautiful ocean, beautiful everything. You have all the advantages, and he didn't take advantage of that. And he's let people come in by the millions who are overrunning your hospitals, your education system, and your police. Your police are being overrun. Look at what's happened.
That was bad. That was real bad.
He should only be happy I sent in the military, because if I didn't send them in, you would have had a problem there, the likes of which we haven't seen in a long time. Yeah, please. Thank you, Brian, very much.
Supersonic flight.
Supersonic.
Yes,
flight.
sir. I know you just signed an executive order on it. Do you want to see a supersonic Air Force One in the next 10 years or so?
Oh, well, I don't care too much about that, but I would like to see, if you think about it, flight, the word flight's an interesting word, but it's probably the only category where we've actually gone backwards, because we used to have the Concorde, and we could fly to London very quickly.
Concorde?
Nicely. And today it takes you 2 times and 3 times as long.
Yeah, but it costs a lot of money, right?
We've regressed. And by the way, the Concorde, to my way of thinking, to this day, Michael, because you're very much into aesthetics, I know, but to this day, it was one of the most beautiful pieces of art I've ever seen. It was a piece of art, the beauty of the Concorde. It was the most beautiful plane, but it was got you there in half the time. Now you
Sonic boom.
That Concorde is going to make Concorde great again.
There's no reason for it. Because, they have the sonic boom. It's not a huge problem, but they have the sonic boom thing pretty well figured out. The technology changes, the change in the skin, the change in weight, all of the other things. There's no reason why we shouldn't do great. So we are making it possible for them to do supersonic and get us back on the track. I mean, think of it, 30 years ago, we actually had planes that flew much faster than we do now.
Well, because they were too expensive. I'm pretty sure that's why.
So we've regressed, and we're going to progress.
5 sonic big booms.
Right, it's sort of an amazing thing, isn't it? We've gone backwards. On Wall Street, they haven't done that. If Goldman Sachs was like that, you wouldn't have Goldman Sachs anymore. Yeah, please.
In Los Angeles.
Ooh,
Are
he
you
doesn't
going to
need to
deploy
now, right?
Marines in California?
We'll see what happens. I mean,
I think it got worse, because this video was a day ago or something like that. The Marines are being deployed there.
It was heading in the wrong direction. It's now heading in the right direction, and we hope to have the support of Gavin, because Gavin's a big beneficiary as we straighten out his
Surely he's going
to. Yeah.
It is a mess.
No, he doesn't see that as a problem.
Because look, personally, it should have never been built. Because you can fly there for $2, and what are you doing? They're doing that. You could drive, you could do lots of different things. If they did a study, if you gave every passenger the finest limousine service in the history of our world, the most expensive chauffeur-driven, white-glove limousine service back and forth,
that's good.
We would have saved billions of dollars as opposed to building this monstrosity that's going up.
Well,
and I've never seen anything.
Does everybody get a limousine now?
I'm a person, I've always done well on cost overruns. I don't have them. But I will tell you, I've never seen cost overruns. You see it where they're 20% more, 50%, 100% more.
Jesus Christ.
These are thousands of percent. Nobody
Wow.
even knows. They have no idea. And it was supposed to be from San Francisco to Los Angeles. Well, they just made it way outside of Los Angeles, where it's stopping in the middle of, I don't want to say
for everyone.
I happen to like one of those little cities very much, but it's way short of the destination. And our government is saying, why are we involved in this thing? It's been handled so badly before him, but he really blew it. So, all right, one more question.
Speaking to any of the discussions that were had there and the purpose of that retreat, your time at Camp David.
On a what?
Your time at Camp David, can you speak to what discussions were had there and the purpose of that retreat?
Probably not.
Well, I don't want to speak to discussions. I mean, I told you what we were there for a little bit. We had discussions on many topics. We had a group of people, a large group of people, including generals and admirals and lots of others. And all I can say is our country's in great shape. We're in great shape economically.
Right.
The bill that Mike and Jason and all the
Trump's
people are working on is going to be, I think,
Yeah.
amazing. I think it's going to be one of the most important pieces of legislation we've ever had in this country. It's going to do things that you wouldn't believe, and we're going to, I have a very simple phrase. We ran an election on very simple words: make America
Go great again.
That's what we're doing. We're making it great. We're making it safe. We're making it beautiful, and we're making it very wealthy again.
Nice.
Wealth is okay. You need wealth to
Here we go.
take care of lots of other people. We have
Yeah.
to make our country better. It has to heal from 4 years of abuse. Our
That
country
is
was
true.
abused badly
That is
by
true.
a very incompetent person and a group of people that weren't incompetent, but they were radical left lunatics, and they ran the country with an auto pen. And
Damn.
I hope that
Damn.
law enforcement's looking at that very seriously. That's like a takeover of our country in a certain way.
That is weird.
Because this guy
It's
had no
very
idea
weird.
what he was doing. You saw that during the debate. You saw that in other cases. I mean, he had no idea. I saw it years ago. By the way, 40 years ago, he had no. He was bad 40 years ago. We're not just talking about. And they
It's
always
a
like to say
career of
age,
being
but
a
it's not age.
retard.
I know people
Wow.
88, 89, 92. Bernie Marcus, who just passed away, was 95. I spoke to him a year before. He was 100%. It's not age, it's something else. But whatever it is, you can't have that in this country. The damage he's done to this country is unbelievable. But the good news is we've got much of it fixed already, and the rest of it will happen. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Amazing.
Well, there it is. Contrary to what some people would have you believe, the amount of pushback and the amount of support for, holding these people accountable and arresting them is at an all-time high. I think that the majority of people want to see these guys and these people get arrested. So take a look at this.
If we just take a look at the baseline numbers here, this is Trump's net approval rating on immigration. It's gone up
Trump
like
was
a
right
rocket
back
now
then.
versus 8
That's
years
crazy.
ago during Trump's first term. Look at this.
People call
In
him
his first
crazy.
term, Trump was way underwater at minus
Here it
21
is.
points. But look at this. He's up over 20 points. Now, in the aggregate, he is in positive territory at plus 1 point on his net approval rating. Some other polls even have it a little bit higher than that. There is no issue on which Trump is doing so much better than he was in his first term, more than the issue of immigration.
This is the reason why I think he should use the military if necessary, and also the National Guard.
Oh,
to
yeah,
just
it's gonna
completely
happen.
Shut this stuff down.
It's probably happening right now.
Everybody is agreeing with him on this. Everybody's in favor of this. Like everybody is. Really, I mean, the people voted for this. Do it. I think the problem that a lot of people have right now. This is what I'm frustrated about personally. Why are there not 3,000 arrests from yesterday?
That is true.
Why do they not already have the National Guard patrolling, making sure this doesn't happen? Build the camps, yeah.
Especially the
it's
guy
too
that was
soft. They're
throwing
way too
racks
soft on
at the
this.
vehicles.
It's embarrassing. And you can see very clearly, this is what the public wants. So don't let social media and other content creators and people like this gaslight you. This is the popular opinion. The popular opinion is to put these people in jail and remove them from the country. And it is overwhelmingly the popular opinion. And this, the crash out that's happened over the past few days, will only serve to make it even more extreme.
No wonder the Times has written up the way that he is. Trump is paying for a
But that's the thing, right? Back in 2017, Trump kind of had an idea that this would happen, and that's what he was trying to prevent. And we're witnessing it here today. But if people would have listened and take precaution, we wouldn't lead to this. But sometimes it's good to speak out, but people will not agree with you, and then they'll hit what you're talking about, and then they'll see the result of it. They'll wake them up.
fight on this because he knows what he's doing so far.
To put children in jail? This emotional manipulation doesn't work anymore. I understand, I don't care. If you're bringing kids over and you're trying to use them as a shield for your bad behavior, then yeah, I guess they're going to jail with you. I don't care. I don't think most people do. I think a lot of average Americans are sick of having their own empathy and their better nature weaponized against them in order to justify a bunch of illegal aliens and criminals coming over and doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing, and they shouldn't even be here in the first place. Yeah, bring your kid to riot day? What the fuck is wrong with you? Where are the parents? Where's the parents' responsibility for taking care of their kids? It's insane. No, you're not going to claim the moral upper hand whenever these people are willingly putting their kids in danger by doing this. It's outrageous.
But that's the thing, right? When a country or when a country of people with people that do things out of guilt and out of feelings towards another country and bring illegal in, this is what will happen to a country. It's in the Bible, man. It's in the Bible. When you do things out of guilt, out of feeling bad for them and identifying with them, why are you identifying with them? God already sent Jesus for that reason. Why are you here doing that? But that will bring destruction to the same country that you're in, that you're going to bring these crazy people in, because they don't have your values. They don't have your morals, even though moral doesn't exist. They don't have your same beliefs, right? At least these people here that lives in the state in Canada have some good morals, as you want to call it, right? At least they have something grounding them, right?
With the American electorate.
It's
Where
massively
does immigration
working.
rank on issues for him?
And guys, I wonder, where do you think that it's going to push? Like, whenever you see a bunch of random people in masks flying every single flag except for the American flag,
that's crazy,
lighting self-driving cars on fire, and standing in the middle of the street, and, you know, like, driving around in motorcycles around, again, like cars on fire in the middle of an intersection, I wonder if that's going to help Trump or not.
Of course it's going to.
Jeez, I wonder. You might not be seeing this, and you might not see this, but I'm a legal immigrant myself, and all my extended family and I are pro-Trump. Left-wing media is lumping legals with illegals, and it really bothers all the legal immigrants. Well, of course it does. I mean, I went to school with a lot of Eric Hernandez's, okay? Like, and, you know, like, David or, like, Bill Rodriguez. This is extremely fucking common.
What was he doing compared to others?
Yeah, so I think what's so important is it is his top issue so far, and the reason it is his top issue is because take a look at the individual nuggets in here. Why are people approving of Trump
deport
on
those here
immigration,
illegally?
these different immigration actions? Well, Trump's administration's program to deport those here illegally. Look at this, 54% approval. How about agents searching your hometown for those that they think are here illegally? Again, positive territory here.
Call ICE on you.
See, obviously, people do support this. And again, the majority of people support this.
50% for Donald Trump. So it's not just on the broad issue of immigration where Trump is doing well, it's on the specifics. When you dive into the issues, Trump is above 50% and his actions are above 50%, at least with those most directly connected to what's going on right now out in Los Angeles.
So Donald Trump, the president, picking a fight on this, and to an extent, you see Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, a Democrat, and the California Governor Gavin Newsom pushing back.
Yeah.
So what do voters see in terms of their perceptions of Republicans, the president, or Democrats, say Gavin Newsom on this issue?
Yeah.
How is it not higher? They're literally illegals. I think that the reason why it's not higher is because he's talking about doing this wholesale. So there's a lot of people out there that want the deportations to happen, but they just want it to be for the people that are criminals.
That doesn't make sense.
Mass deportations for anybody here illegally
yes,
is actually
exactly.
the consensus opinion.
Yeah, exactly.
Or sorry, I guess consensus isn't the right word. It's the majority opinion.
Yeah.
But whenever you add in especially people that are committing crimes or doing anything wrong, then you have a lot more people.
The American electorate believe that
this is what I'm saying is, like, this is the most extreme way of asking the question, and even this extreme way of asking the question generates a majority yes response. So think about whenever you get more specific.
the Democrats don't have a clue on the issue of immigration. I mean, you could just take it here. Closer to trust more in immigration, Democrats versus Republicans. Got 3 different polls for you across the board. They all tell the same story. Republicans lead on the issue of immigration. You see it here, CBS plus 6. You see it here, CNN plus 6. You see it here, Ipsos, even bigger, plus 19. No matter...
It is just not popular to burn down self-driving cars and protect illegal aliens over American citizens. Isn't that shocking? Who could have ever guessed that?
But you know the funniest thing, like Gavin Newsom is choosing the illegal immigrants over his own people. Shouldn't that tell people a lot of things, that this guy is evil, this guy is crazy?
What poll you look at, no matter which way you cut it, the American public is with the Republicans, the American public is with Donald Trump, and to a much greater extent than they were in term number one.
Yep.
And it's not just on the broad issue.
And this is why he needs to be decisive, and he needs to act on this very quickly.
I'm pretty sure the
If
Marines
Trump
are in
actually
right now
does pretty
that I'm
much get rid of a lot of
doing
these
this
people,
video.
and he forcefully does it, and you see mass arrests, and even you have like, I think a big issue is that a lot of these community leaders and the people that push for these riots,
They're
they never
evil.
get held accountable.
They're
They
evil.
spent 4 years trying to hold Donald Trump accountable for January 6th, but somehow we can't hold any of these people accountable for doing this for years. How does that happen?
Of immigration, it's on the specifics as
The flags
well,
are terrible.
in which the
Look,
American
they are.
public is with Donald Trump and the Republicans, and that is why Donald Trump is eager to take on this fight and eager for those scenes out of Los Angeles.
I was just going to use that word eagerness, explain some of that eagerness to push forward ever more on this as it escalates. Harry, thank you very much for.
Yeah, I think that there's a good chance that he's waiting for it to hit a fever pitch, and then after he does, then he's going to like basically mobilize the military or National Guard in order to take care of it. I think that's definitely possible. That he's kind of waiting. He's waiting for things to get worse until he, lets it pop off even more. Look at his most recent Truth Social post. Okay, let me see if I can find it. Let's see here. If they split, we will hit. This is a statement from the President of the United States concerning the catastrophic Gavin Newsom inspired riots going on in Los Angeles. The insurrectionists have a tendency to spit in the face of National Guardsmen and women and others. These patriots are told to accept this if it's just the way life runs. But non-Trump administration, if they spit, we will hit. Such a promise that I will hit harder than we ever have hit before. Such disrespect will not be tolerated. I'm going to be honest. If you're spitting on federal officers and they hit you, jeez, really? Oh, wow. Man. I think that really, and this is there's like a meta level issue here. There is a normalization.
That's crazy that they come to a country that is providing them with such great life. Not the illegal, but the legal ones, because they're protesting for the illegal to stay here. Man, if you love your people and love your country so much, why don't you go back to your country if it's so great? You're waving flags that are not from the U.S. You should just go back to your country, because clearly your country is better and you hate the U.S. But they're brainwashed. They're being used by evil people because these people are angry and they're not able to see what's happening. They're being controlled by the evil that is inside of them, and a bigger evil is controlling them, which is crazy.
And there is a normalization of violence against people because you disagree with them or because you think that it's acceptable to be violent toward them. This entire notion needs to be dismantled at the core.
These people need to go to jail.
Destructive, and it's destructive for everything.
Oh yeah.
And so this is I totally agree with this. It's leftist ideology. Well, I don't know if it. I mean, I don't want to say that it's like one side doing this, because it's ultimately the ideology is what's bad, not the people that are doing it specifically.
But it is the people that are doing it that are bad, and it's not necessarily them. It's the evil that is inside of them driving them, and this is how evil come and hurt. It comes through people, because evil, the devil, the evil does not exist. It's inside of people, and they portray it. They project it on the earth by acting out and doing this crazy act of the false self, the ego, which is of the devil's nature that they have identified with, and that's what driving them. That is what is driving them.
So it doesn't matter who's doing it. Spitting is potentially a hazard, depending on what disease they have. So yeah, that's fair. Spitting on someone counts as assault. You should expect them to hit you back. Yeah, exactly. And I think that we need to go back to a society where any sort of physical escalation is treated like it's bad. This is the same reason why I've had the opinion that I had about throwing bricks at the police officers too. Like, in my opinion, if you throw a brick at a police officer, I think that they should
be jail time. Yeah.
Straight up.
That's crazy though.
Literally no restrictions. Like if you're throwing bricks, you should be able to get shot. It's attempted murder. Yeah, absolutely. And there's no reason, by the way, there is no
The cops
moral and
should be able to
ethical
defend
reason
themselves.
that you can come up with that tells me that this is a person who should endure a life-threatening attack on their life and not have the right to defend themselves. This is a deadly weapon. A brick is a deadly weapon. There are no bricks of peace.